All right, we are winding down towards the end of this project, and this is a big week. We have all of our peer feedback and our Wiki expert feedback from last week. So I'm going to do hopefully a quick screen share and show you what to do with all of that. So earlier in the last week, Brianda shared with you a feedback document. So I'm looking at that over here. Every team's got one, and there's a couple of things to show you on here. So if you scroll down, actually, let's do this first. Always open the document outline first, and you'll see there's two tabs. So we're going to work in the first tab first. And this just always lets you jump to sections. So I always like a well-formatted document that lets you jump to sections. The feedback is designed to help you get this biography ready for main space. That's our goal. So Brianda looked at it literally at an expert level. She's a wiki expert. That's her job. So what you need to do, your group, you need to go through each of the things that she talked about and make sure that you can click checked and done. And when you've done with that, you put your initials under it so I know who checked it and did it, okay? So this first section is just general. Everybody's got the same stuff on the first section. These are just things to look at that are general issues that a lot of biographies have, not necessarily your biography, but check for it anyhow. Just make sure that you've got all these things checked off. But then we get down to the more specific. Actually, there's a lot of that, 2 pages of that. Then we get down to this is the very specific stuff just for your biography. And she went and looked at each section. And again, she's going to give you some examples. This Marsha Ray one is a really good, Marsha Ray Williams is a good one. And so whoever does that, take it, you're in progress, you're working on it, so somebody knows you have it or that you've completed it, and make sure that you type in your initials underneath so we know who took care of that item. So you'll see, it'll go through, not every section is going to have things, but she's going to have some very specific feedback to help improve your biography because we all want these to get over the finish line. We want all of these. Now, when they're done, you can either jump to the next tab by clicking down here, or you just close that tab and click on this tab. Now, last week, we had lots of people giving feedback on all of the biographies. At a maximum, there would be 7 peer reviews that you could get. So let me jump over to our wiki dashboard and just show you where to find that. So I happen to be added to all of the articles. So we'll just look at this one. So Beverly Wood, and it's going to show if it's in blue, that means they did the peer review. If it's in red, that means it's not done yet, but you shouldn't wait. They may or may not do it. So you just continue on and go through the process. And so everybody's got that. So let's go back to this one. What I did is I created a document that will let you itemize all of the feedback you got from different people. So like I said, there's up to 7 peer reviews. This is what yours looked like at about 9 a.m. on Monday. So if more people have done their thing, then their links would not be read anymore. And then we'll jump down to peer review 1. Now, again, you can open up the document outline and go to each one also. But let me just show you what each one looks like. So peer review 1. What you're going to do is you're going to put the person's name, not your name, whoever did the review. So we know which review you're looking at. And then you're going to make a link to the review page. So back here, let's say I clicked on this one. Just grab this link up at the top, and that's the link that you'll put. So this way, if you have any questions, if you want to see more details, you don't have to go digging for it. The link's right here. Super easy. Go get it. And then itemize the feedback. Okay. Now, some people made a nice, neat list. Some people put it into categories. Some people just wrote a paragraph or 2. Whatever they did, just take it and go through it, item by item, and just each item, put on 1 line. Okay, each actionable item, edit this, look for your spelling here, whatever the things are, okay, itemize it. And if you need more rows, make as many rows as you need. Some of the reviews are longer than others. I will tell you some of the shorter reviews were really good because they contained very precise, actionable feedback, something that you could actually do to make your biography better. So the length isn't necessarily an indicator. Now, we'll use this as a checkoff list. So you have to make a decision. Am I going to do it? Are we going to add this in? Or, okay, well, that was nice feedback, but we don't necessarily agree with that. But if you decide not to use it, include a reason. So, and just mark not using. So it'll either be checked and done or not using. And so, I don't know, I'm going to just make something up here. Background color should be pink. Let's say they said that. Okay, that's what they said. And then down here, we don't think it should be pink because no wiki pages are pink. Okay, so you just give a reason why you did it. And again, put your initial in after this. So that way we know who did the thing. If somebody different did the implementation than who added it to the list, just I want to give you credit for what you're doing. Okay. So we're going to take that off. That's what you need to do this week for your feedback piece. Now, let me jump back over here and I'll give you a quick preview. So I have all the groups, there's a lot of stuff. So on the timeline this week, we're in the final countdown here. So I'm actually giving you a little bit of a preview of what's up ahead. So by Friday, please have all that feedback implemented. Do all your polishing. This is the polish week. Do all your polishing, make your biography nice and shiny. Keep going back to those notability requirements. If we need to find more information or fill in, like you can't have too much stuff under the notability support. So just make sure you get as much as possible there. And you're going to, by Friday, post to your team and say, final project revision as a tag, and then tag me and Brianda. So that way we can come in and look at, because you can't move it to main space until you get an approval. So we need a couple of days to make sure we get an approval, because next week, part of what you'll do is move it to main space. Anyhow, here's the timeline. This first box is the timeline for the week. Now, the overview video may or may not be there. It's probably this video, so the current video that's there right now. If you watched this before my video, is the old one from last semester. It's not bad. It's just the dates are different and stuff. So next week, we're going to move it to main space. That's the big deal. And the final week, final reflections and project wrap up. I will say that the huge bulk of credit for this assignment is in the action, and it's in the individual things. It's in the reflections you're doing each week. It's in the peer reviews, how much effort you put into making those useful, instead of just saying, well, I don't like it. You actually give actionable, constructive feedback. Some of the ones I saw actually give a reference, like, here's what you should do, and here's a link to the training that shows how to do it. Fantastic. That was fantastic. So those of you that did that, kudos. That's super helpful for the team because they know right where to go to find out how to fix the thing. But next week, what you're going to do, let me scroll down here. Next week, what you're going to do is a couple of things. So you're going to look ahead to the final project. Now, the final project is kind of big. So this is where a lot of your credit is also, because you're going to do a written reflection, a video reflection, and a team peer review. Okay, and we're going to do the team peer review actually next week, and then you're going to do the planning next week, and then the final week you're going to submit the written reflection and the video reflection. So what I'm encouraging you to do, go look at the timeline. So jump ahead. I know it says under construction on week 8. Let me jump down to week 8. And it is, because the dates and things are off. But in general, the workload that you're looking at is going to be the same. So go down and look. I'm going to update all the dates, update all the links probably today. You're going to go look over the final reflection slide deck, keeping in mind that it still needs to be updated. Once I remove that message about under construction, then everything's open. And it'll give you ideas, because this isn't like a throw together in 5 minutes, get on Zoom and talk off the top of your head type of final. You've been working on this thing for 8 or 9 weeks at this point out of 16, like half the semester. This needs to reflect a half a semester's worth of work and thinking and insights. And if you've been doing all the pieces all along, it shouldn't be hard. If you haven't, you're going to have to like spend some significant time pulling this together. All right. Anyhow, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get everything posted. Let me go back up to the top here. So just to recap, this week we're going to polish. We're going to extract all the suggestions from the peer reviews we got. We're going to implement all the reviews, starting with Brianda's feedback, because that's important. She's giving some really good feedback. So we need to put that in there first. And then we're going to look at what our colleagues did, our classmates did, and review that. That's this week's big project, finishing with the reflection at the end of the week. Next week, we're going to publish it if it's approved. We're going to send it to MainSpace. This is out in the big world at this point. So we want to make sure to get the work done this week so that next week we don't have any hiccups. And we're going to do a team peer review. So that's where you're going to give me feedback on how your team worked together and how individuals in the team and what they did. And it's all, it just goes to me. Nobody else sees it except for me. And then in week 9, we're going to put together all of our final products for this project. And then we'll move on to something else to finish up this semester. So you've done a lot of work. Let's see what we can do here.